If you've never tried Romanian Mici, you're missing out on one of the juiciest, most flavorful meat dishes in Eastern Europe. They're a staple at every Romanian barbecue, known for their lightly brown exterior, tender interior, and a spice blend that gives them their unmistakable taste. And while they're already incredible on their own, I also add one completely optional and definitely not traditional ingredient that I believe makes them even better. Let me show you how. When selecting the meat, you have three choices: pork, beef, and mutton. You can combine all three or just use pork and beef, which is what I'm using here. The pork meat must have high fat content. That's what keeps the meat juicy. I'm using pork belly, but pork neck will do just fine. The beef adds flavor and structure. If you have a meat grinder, great, you can grind the meat using the fine plate. Before mixing in the spices, I like to add a little bit of shio-koji, a salty Japanese marinade made from koji rice. It brings out a subtle sweetness in the meat and enhances umami. I have a dedicated video on how to make it if you are interested, link in the description. Before measuring and preparing the rest of the ingredients, put the meat in the fridge. To get the unique flavor of the meat, we need a few specific spices like black pepper, caraway seeds, allspice, coriander, and some dried thyme. To complement the spices, we also need garlic, paprika, salt, and a little bit of baking soda to make them more airy. The last ingredient is beef or chicken stock, or just water. Make sure it's ice cold to prevent the fat from melting during mixing. Grind the spices and add everything over the meat. You can mix it by hand, or my preferred way is to use the stand mixer with the dough hook attached. The paddle attachment won't work because the meat will stick to it and it won't mix properly. Add some of the stock and start mixing. Since the meat doesn't have gluten like a dough, you will have to help the mixer using a spatula. Just be careful of the spinning dough hook. Keep doing this until you are out of stock and the meat is sticky and looks like a homogeneous paste. Transfer the paste to a food container and chill it in the fridge for 12 to 24 hours. Shaping the meat can be done by hand, rolling the meat in your hands and tapping the ends. But a more efficient way is to use a pastry bag. Measure and cut 4 centimeters or about 2 inches from the tip. Now this is important. Add a little bit of oil on the inside of the bag. Trust me, trying to get the meat out of the bag without oil is a nightmare. While you're at it, add some oil to a flat surface, like a cutting board, and on your hands. Fill the pastry bag with meat, just enough so that you can twist the upper end. Now simply squeeze the bag at a steady rate and draw a line with the meat. Use a sharp knife to cut the lines in equal sizes. Feel free to measure, but I prefer to just eyeball it. To store them, take a piece of flat cardboard or polystyrene, or whatever you have handy, cover it with baking paper and spray some oil on it. Stack them next to each other, but never on top of each other. They will lose their shape. Cover with plastic foil and freeze them for long-term storage, or you can chill them if you plan to cook them in a few days. Speaking of cooking, the best way to do it is on a grill over hot coals. But that's not always an option. So heat up a bit of oil in a skillet over medium heat for a few minutes. Keep in mind that if the heat is too low, they will steam, shrink, and become dry. It takes about 10 to 15 minutes for them to be done. During this time, roll them every few minutes so they cook evenly on all sides. Don't poke them with a fork. Instead, use 2 forks or tongs. I added a bit too much heat here and got a bit too much char than I wanted. But this is also a side effect of using shiokoji to boost the flavor. Here, for example, I didn't use shiokoji and kept the heat under control, so they look much better. Once they are done, let them rest for a few minutes, then dig in. Keep in mind that if they reach room temperature, all the juiciness will be gone, just like with a steak. The most common way to serve them is with mustard, bread, and a cold beer. Oh, and I have a video on how to make delicious fluffy bread using the same shiokoji. Link in the description if you're interested. Another common way to serve them, and my favorite, is with a side of crispy French fries. And that's it, Romanian Mici, an amazing addition to any barbecue or just a simple, delicious meal. Enjoy! If you found this recipe helpful, consider leaving a like and subscribing for future recipes. Or check out one of my other videos, you might find something you like. Until next time, bye!